Okay, what did we say about the beggar here? Would we give the beggar?
No.
Majority of people say what? No. Why? He's going to waste it. Okay. When I was your age, I said the exact same thing. When I was halfway out of your age to my age, I still said the same thing. Today I say something different. Okay, now what I would say differently is what I want you to guess. Okay, now with this guy, we would tip him. How much? 15%. Why? That's what is a norm, right? We think that's what he deserves. Do we always tip?
No.
It's dependent upon what?
The quality of service.
The quality of service. Okay, if the beggar really needed something, and we knew he needed it, would we give him the money?
No.
Yes.
Okay, we still disagreed. Okay, good.
Well, you don't. If you know he really needs something.
Yes.
I mean, I think a lot of people, especially in my group, was like, well, no, you don't give him money, but you give him what he needs. Which isn't necessarily
Okay.
money. You give him food. You give him the gas he needs to get in his car. But you don't give him the money to buy the gas.
Okay, so let's say he needs to eat. Okay, but there's no restaurants around, and I'm walking by him, right? And I look at him. Oh, he's pretty hungry. Well, I don't have any food on.
No
Okay,
restaurants around.
no restaurant. I got no food. I can't do anything, right? So walk on by, right? Okay.
Restaurant that's not around.
Okay. No, I'm okay. Okay. Okay, I'm coming off the freeway. I see the guy. I'm hungry. Don't do anything. Roll past him, right? If I had $1 right in my hand, would that make a difference? What do you all think?
You don't know.
We don't know, but I bet you'd make a difference, right? If I had $1 and I'm walking by this guy and he's asking for money, do you think I'm more apt or less apt to give? If I had $1 right there in my hand. More, right? Okay, so think about that. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. The blind guy. Right? How did we decide to deal with the blind guy?
Let them do their own thing.
Let them do their own thing, and what, should we get involved with the blind guy?
No, that'll just frustrate you and bring you down. That's an attempt to control or influence their behavior.
Okay. Okay. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, we had a personal problem, right? Most people think the problem comes from where? Okay, next. But then we show the arrows going the other way. Why is that? What's that? You think the problem actually comes from us? Who agrees with him? Okay. Next slide. Okay. Now we're talking about if somebody's really old, how do they think differently? Okay, maybe we need one more slide, and we need to show that we show this one first, we show this one second, we show this one third, and this one is fourth. Okay? And the order makes a difference. As you go from number 1 to number 4, what is the difference between the scenario that we're picking? Somebody take a guess. No?
Do you know the person more? Like you don't know a beggar, you know a personal problem. Like
Wow. Who's talking here? Wow. Yeah. We get more information as we go that way, right? Of the case. True? Okay, so when we get more information, Which situation deals more on the other guy? This one here or this one here? This one here. This one deals more with who? With us. So this goes from the other guy to self. Huh. No light bulbs going on? Okay, remember now, the beggar, right? Why won't we give the beggar? Because we don't know what he's going to do with the money, right? Okay, so let's draw this graph right here. And let's say this is the fast-changing A-type guy, and this is the slow-changing C-type person. Which one is more likely to be the beggar? Right here. So we don't want to give it to the beggar because the beggar may just waste it. Well, that's why he's begging. Because he doesn't know what else to do. That's why he's a beggar. True? I mean, if he was more intelligent, would he still be begging there? Probably not, yes.
Some beggars and panhandlers make a lot of money.
Oh, yes, okay. That kind of gives us a little confusion there, right?
Well, I mean, that goes into more perception of information. So if you have that information,
Yes.
then you're more likely to act in this way.
Okay, let's put aside the $1 million beggar.
Not even $1 million.
Oh, the $100,000 beggar.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's put those people aside. Okay, let's think about the person actually is begging. Okay. So the more you go this way, the more information you have, the more you think the cause deals with who? You. The more you go this way, the cause deals with who? Them. Okay, very good. Okay, let's go through the proposed answer. And go step by step here. Okay, now we propose that everything deals with you. There's nothing in this class that we give to you that somehow doesn't deal with you. Does that make sense? Okay, next. And you have a family. So if somebody was begging in your family to you for money, would you give or not give?
Depends.
More likely to give.
Loan. Okay. Okay, but more likely or less likely to give?
More likely.
More likely. This kind of tips you off here, right? Okay, next. How about friends? If the beggar was here, more likely or less likely to give?
Like less than? You mean like compared
More
to
than
family?
family.
Many people are more
Or
likely
less
to
than
give
family.
a friend than less than family.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, but everybody thinks that the person knows the family more, has more information, and has less information on friends, right? Okay, next. How about strangers?
Least likely.
Least likely. Why?
We don't know what they're going to
We don't know them, right?
Passed away from you.
Okay, now you actually had one more here, right? Next. How about ignorant strangers?
For strangers,
Just
like,
saying.
That's true.
If they're strangers, they're all in kind of the same bubble.
But what I'm saying is,
If you knew they were an ignorant stranger.
yeah, if by observing them they look ignorant.
Why are they all female?
I didn't want to draw the legs.
Okay.
so is a stranger the waiter?
They're just people.
Okay.
No, because the beggar would more likely be a stranger, or would you look at them more likely as an ignorant stranger? Ignorant, right? Who's just a regular stranger?
Like the waiter.
The waiter, somebody you meet at a train station, somebody who's an attendant somewhere, right? You don't know them, but you see that they're actually doing what? Something. So basically, that's where the waiters would be, right? Okay, now, what's the key here?
Information.
Information. Now, what creates the silos? It's the lack of information. right? So if this person was to turn totally visionary, his actions to the people in his family, to his friends, to the strangers, and the ignorant strangers should be what?
All the same.
The same. That's the key. Should be the same. But how do we know what these people are doing when we don't have the information on them? It's because you've learned something in this class. And what you've learned, that when you have a person here, there are people on their molecule, and all these people, whether they're strangers or well known to the person, the placement is done by what? This guy. And the relationships, even though we don't have information on them, are all driven by natural laws. Which means, if any one of these people interface with us and they cause a conflict or a decision to be made, whatever we are fearful about this person or whatever problem they're causing us, it's actually driven by who? By this person. And if you look at this, we're far less likely to give because we might think that that guy has a problem. Or we might not tip because we feel like their performance wasn't up to speed. Or we don't want to deal with the blind guy, but a problem gets caused when we have the problem. Because then here we realize that we caused the problem. And basically what I'm proposing is that whenever you see a problem within your environment, it has something to do with who? With you.
Yeah.
But this goes on all the time. And really what we're saying here is to realize that everything really comes out of you. So what I'm trying to propose is there are natural laws that always govern. So what are some of them? Number one, if you're generous, right, I think it leads to happiness and success. Overall, with anybody, right? If you're thinking about people, trying to understand people, it always helps you. Does that make sense? But it's not really taught in school. Okay, it's never taught as a subject. So basically what I'm saying is, because it all revolves around us, there are certain things that if you can pick up when you're younger, it'll always lead to success. Right? Because they're natural laws. And it always deals with us. But too often, because we don't have information about the people around us, we end up making a decision. And when we make a decision, we actually put our bias on what's going on with the other guy that shows who we are. Now, I can tell you for a fact that I haven't given to beggars for the simple reason that I thought they would waste the money. But I can also tell you that I give over 12% of my income directly into a charity. And then I give even more now to people. Why? Because, number one, I can. And number two, I know it's the right thing to do. Right? And even though I haven't given to beggars, I have committed, because I've told you that it's the right thing to do. Whenever I go on a trip, I will now have coins and dollars in my pocket. And I'll be ready to give it to beggars who come and ask for it. Just because I think they can't exhaust how much money I have. Now, I'm not going to give $100 at a crack. I'm going to give $1 here, $1 there, right? Something I can afford. If I was a billionaire, I'd be giving more. Yes?
I mean, I think there's a point where if you give to a beggar for yourself,
Yes.
right, and if you have more information, and you know, because of the more information that you have, that if you give them that $1, they're going to go buy heroin, and that beggar's going to OD and die in the next 24 hours, and that $1 contributed to that. Now, this is, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
it's a situation where you have to say, I mean, it's obviously a really exaggerated one.
Yes.
But by giving to the beggar and
Yes.
not giving to them in a form where they are able to abuse it, maybe it's not like you wouldn't feel good about that. You'd be like, oh, well, that was great. I enabled somebody to go kill themselves. I feel
Well, no, you
great.
know how earlier you said you assumed you were in a situation with no restaurants? Say you are in a situation where there's everything around you. Would you then, like, say they were holding up a sign that I'm hungry, and there's a McDonald's right there, would you give them the money, or would you go get them a sandwich?
If anything, it's more generous to stop, take your time to go get them a sandwich and give it to them.
And if I have the time, I will do that.
But see, that's
But
the
if I
whole-
don't have the time, I just give the dollar.
I was just,
But
Like what I'm proposing to you, if you're a student, right, do you have to give them $1? No. Just give them a quarter. But the act of giving brings out kindness in a person and brings out understanding, right? And what I propose to you is that over time, somebody who acted in this manner would attract what type of people in the future? Generous people. That seems to be a natural law. Does that make sense?
Scott, what'd you have to say? Scott had something.
so
Okay.
and going back to like the sell your soul concept,
Yes.
I mean, I can see a utility for not giving, especially us as college students. I mean, we're in a financially hard
Yes.
place, and in my mind, it'd be much better for us to save our money now and invest in charity and be generous later on. I mean, imagine if Warren Buffett did not invest that first $50. He would be nowhere where he is today, and now he gives away millions of dollars towards
Yes.
charities. So how do you compensate between those two?
Now, between a Warren Buffett and when he
I
started,
mean, just
and
like, you know,
if
essentially selling your soul or like paying the cost to get where you want to be.
what I'm proposing is that being generous is not limited by how much money we have. It's an idea in our heart.
so like you're saying there's other ways to be generous, not just the giving the money, like volunteering
Yeah.
or giving your time.
Like,
or something.
do you ever go anywhere and sit down in a train, a bus, or sit down in a restaurant or anything and look around and look for happy people? You ever do that? That's a really good practice. And say, why is that person so happy? And why does that person look so sad? And why does that person look like if you gave them a gun, they'd kill the person they're sitting with? Right? And it all deals with a information and understanding. So what I'm proposing here is that it's the idea of generosity. Whatever you have, it's not really money. Right? You find people who are just generous. And they just seem to be really good people. So even though I wasn't always like that, because I was thinking of myself, and you know, I still remember the time we went on a trip, and I had $15 in my pocket, and I had 3 kids and a wife, and I didn't know when we were going to get any additional money, or when we were going to get out of that city, right? And I'm thinking, wow, you have to really watch the money. But now that you know I'm older, right? And I see the bigger picture. I actually think realistically that a lot of my problems when I was younger was caused by me and not anybody else. Right? I could have picked up the phone and asked for money or asked for help. I could have got it. But I just didn't do it. I still remember this time when I thought to save money, we went to an Air Force base, that I shouldn't live on the government quarters because I could save more money by living in a trailer. And this trailer was really bad off. It had holes like big like that and roaches about that big coming through the hole, right? And my kids saw the roaches go, oh my goodness, what is that? Is that an animal? Right? Big roach. So I begin to see where it was my perception of reality that actually governed a lot of my actions. And I had more fear, I had more thinking about myself, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm trying to propose to everyone, right, that it's a silo that originated where? In my head. So I'm proposing to you all that the same thing can happen to you. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I'm not saying this is absolutely the right thing to do, but I'm trying to give you advice of what I've seen in my own life, right, that helped me.